Good afternoon, everybody. Actually, it's good morning for me. Actually, I don't know if anybody here is on East. Bill, are you in East Coast time?
I'm Central.
Central.
Rebecca's East Coast. So.
Yep, I'm on the East Coast. I'm here.
And Addie's East Coast. There's a way to make my participants list. There it is. Okay. Bigger. Here, Addie, I'm going to make you the host, just so I don't have to keep watching who's joining.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess right off the bat, does anybody have any questions that they did you guys get a chance to go over the release notes or anything yet? Because I was kind of just planning on going through them.
I didn't have a chance to look at anything yet, but I just thought I would stop in and see what the conversation is and see if I can learn anything. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I hope this is pretty fun for you guys. I like it. I think there's a couple cool things in the new release. Sorry if you guys could all see yourselves for a second there. One of the things that I really like about this release, or the release notes specifically, is that, and Mark started doing this in the last update here, but he started adding the tickets for like any of the updates or anything like that. So if you did have a bug or something, you know, you could just like control find that and it'd take you right to the place that you had that issue. Or, you know, if it was a not a bug, but like a development, you could look and see if that development made it on this release notes. So I thought that was kind of cool. The main thing that I really like is this Overdrive integration updates. I'm sure you guys know that there's been some Overdrive stuff going on. So Mark totally responded to that and had a lot of cool Overdrive updates, fixes and stuff like that. The first thing is that I love this preview. This has been available in the record itself, in the Overdrive record before, but now it's available as like a little link underneath. So you can preview it if it's an audiobook and it pops up in this nice modal box. Or you can preview it from the book, which I think is just like really cool. Once I figured out that it had that in the record, I was trying to show people, I was like, oh my God, this is here. I didn't even know about this. So I think it's cool that now it's in like the search. And in the like up here. So where it was showing before would be like, you'd have to really dig in to find it, be like down here. In a specific Overdrive record. The other thing is, of course, my internet's going to go kind of slow, so I'm sorry if I start getting jumpy. The Kindle editions are now popped out into their own section. So for Kindle readers, they'll be able to just get there directly. They don't have to get into the record again as well. I think is pretty cool. Excuse Excuse me. So that's this one here. The Kindle popped out. And then this one was a bug fix, update the display of Overdrive magazines that have been checked out to link to the main record within Aspen, show the title based on new structure of Overdrive data. So before that was showing kind of like a blank image, and then it'd have like no title available. So now that's been all fixed, and so it's easy to access and all the information's loaded. Adding more track stats within the Overdrive dashboard. So now instead of just having, I think that it was just like active users, records with usage. Now there's like failed loans, failed holds, canceled hold. Here in Aspen Test, you know, you're seeing a lot of zeros, but and hopefully in failed holds and stuff like that, you'll see a lot of zeros. But so that's more information there. And then there's also a graph. So you can see usage over time in a visual way. It's really nice. There was also there was like a little bug that if there was supplemental material for the Overdrive checkouts that had supplemental material, like if it was a language learning item from Overdrive. I tried to look for one to show you guys an example, but yeah. So that'll be just Aspen usage. So the supplemental material, the one that I was looking at, it was like a language learning book. And it said like, you know, had supplemental material here, and it'd have a little button to say download supplemental material. But if it wasn't coding correctly, then you'd just get an error. So now that option has been removed. So I guess that's probably why I couldn't find anything to show you guys with, because it's been fixed. And update Overdrive extraction to allow extracting from multiple collections simultaneously. This was for consortia specifically, and that was just kind of like overnight indexing. This one too, when indexing titles from shared collections, make sure to only share it with members of that collection. These ones were pretty consortia related, and that'll help with time and issues from the like overnight indexing. Update the API data testing page to work better with consortia with multiple scopes and different keys for each scope. Allow deleting more than 500 titles or 5% of the collection at once for cases when the catalog changes dramatically. Actually, Mark, I had meant to ask you about this one. Is it that it allows deleting, or that it's not allowing deleting? Because I thought that was for the Overdrive issue where it was like getting rid of a lot of the Overdrive records at once.
Yep. Yeah. So last time we updated so that it wouldn't automatically delete things if there were more than 500 titles or 5% of the collection. We did have a case where that was appropriate. So there is now within the Overdrive settings, there's a switch that says, does that generate an error or not? So most of the time it's fine to leave that turned off. Every once in a while we need to turn it on, just if there are big deletes. So like with the Overdrive magazines, with all of the weirdness that they have in that, we may have to delete a bunch of records at some point, or if somebody stopped subscribing to them or something, we would need to do big deletes.
Yeah, cool. Well, that's good. Yeah, I was like it was so nerve wracking when all of those, when there was like overdrive titles that started getting deleted. So allow handling for additional date forms and overdrive records. Added handling for cases where an overdrive product does not have a metadata load. That was also an indexing bug that was fixed. Added the ability to load overdrive information in the API date page using cross-reference ID to make it easier to grab identifiers from the overdrive site. Add a new diagnostic page to show information stored in the database about an overdrive title. Was that something that was in the record, or is it in the administrative page?
It's in the admin page. So if you go into overdrive settings, and go to, you need full admin.
Okay. I wanted to show some stuff in the like checked out titles. Yeah. So I signed into Rosie.
So the API information page has been updated so that it can take either a cross-reference ID or the original ID. The cross-reference ID, if we go to one of our accounts, so go ahead and open the library account information and then go to, where's there? Scroll down a little bit more. Okay, go back up. Go to, so like if we go to Arlington's overdrive site, I don't remember what it is, but just Google Arlington overdrive and it'll come up. And if we just click into that. So the cross-reference ID, just search for whatever, or click on love lettering or something. You just need the URL. Just click on that love lettering. So from a book, so up there in the URL where it says arlington.overdrive.com/media, that number is the cross-reference ID. It's just easier to pull out than they've got a big long ID as well. So if we plug that into the overdrive API data, it is probable that we don't own it in our test collection. We might. Oh, we do. Sweet. Well, the metadata is available. It is not owned probably anywhere. So this is our test collection. So that was new. And then within the Aspen information, so if we click on Aspen information in the menu, let's just go find a, yeah, so this one needs the full identifier, not the cross-reference. So if we do a search, just go to Aspen test and just search for an overdrive book and we can see how to get. So yeah, just click into like the Pride and Prejudice overdrive. So this is the ID that comes after the overdrive and before the home. So if we copy that.
Sorry.
And put that in the Aspen data page. This tells us what information is stored in the database. So this is a page that I will use a ton. It is useful for libraries. If for some reason you're seeing that availability is not matching what you think it should, it can be a good way to just say like, compare the information in the API information to the information in the Aspen information. It gives us a little more information to go off of.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I've noticed that with some of the release notes that it's like, that I'm like, well, if I can't figure it out, if I can't find the information, I'm sure that this is mostly for Mark to make Aspen easier. So, and then administrative updates. Administration pages are now paginated to show areas with lots of values faster. The page size can be changed and you can easily jump to specific pages from the interface. And then administrators can now batch update individual fields when viewing a list of settings. And administrative pages can be sorted even by fields that are not visible in the table, and sorting works properly with pagination and filtering applied. Yeah, so that's I don't think that there's, let's see. No. Anyways. Is that in the Aspen administration page? I thought that I had found this yesterday.
Yeah, it's in all of the ones where you can see a list of settings. So if we go to, like, it's there in the modules. So if you click on modules, so we can change the sorting. So rather than doing the table sorting, there's the sort by name. Right now it's name ascending, but we could sort it by things that are enabled.
Okay.
So we can say there's everything that's not enabled. We can also filter. So if you hit add filter, then we can say, let's filter and say, let's only look at things that are enabled or something. So where enabled is selected, and then apply filters, and that will get rid of anything that's not. So this is largely driven based off the author authorities. So we'll load all of the author authorities into Aspen now. And there's tens of thousands at least. So displaying all of those in one page is not really possible. So we have the ability to paginate those. You can jump to specific pages, change how many records are shown per page and that kind of thing. So
that's where I had seen it. I was like, I saw it in one of these. So author authorities, this is one of the other things. So now for authors, like we usually use Tui Sutherland as one of the authors that we can group together, because it's not going to automatically group if it's like if it's like Tui T Sutherland or something like that. So that's something that's been added as well, is like all of these author authorities.
Where are you generating these authorities? I missed that piece.
So those come directly out of Koha. So it will load anything that you have currently loaded in Koha. And it's using the 400s, I think, in the authority file. So it's comparing it's loading the personal names and corporate names right now into them, and then it will use those for grouping. And then in the future, we can do additional things like improve searching and that kind of thing to say, hey, no matter how you spell Adam's family. So if you click on the edit for Adam's family, we've got 5 alternative spellings for that. So any of those would then bring up the authoritative record. In the future is the goal. But right now those would all group together.
This is great.
Yeah.
Are we also able to change the authority in there? Like, let's say if an overdrive, to add an alternate name if we need to?
Yeah,
okay.
For sure. Yep. And if you leave the normalized value blank, so basically you just have to, can you go back to the Adams family?
Yeah.
So if you hit add new, and we won't save this, but if we wanted,
That's great. Great.
yeah, so you can leave the normalized value blank and will automatically generate that the next time that it runs. But yeah, so hopefully helpful and useful to all of those people that are doing good authority work.
Yes. Keisha, aren't you glad we joined in today?
It took me like 10 years, but I finally added
Yeah.
authorities.
I was like, because when I was looking at it, I was like trying to figure out, I was like, is that what we just do when we like cross-reference the name currently, or is this authority work? And I was like, I think this looks like authority work.
It is,
Question.
yeah.
So, okay, so I have one right now. So I have Allie, which I was going to fix. I have Allie Condi, but
Mhm,
her LC name is Allison Breathwaite Condi.
mhm.
Alllyson. So what would you do? Put in the way it's supposed to be and then just put cross references, or
Mhm.
should there be an authority already there for her since we already have her in the system?
Let's see. So I would start by clicking on the filters
Okay.
and hit add filter. And we want to say something where the authoritative author, add
It should
filter.
already been there. Yeah, because we already
Yeah.
have her work.
And then we're going to say contains Allison
Try Condi.
or Condi.
Condie. Condi, that's the last name.
Yeah, so there's Allison. That's her, right? The first one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
there
it's
it has
already
cross
there.
reference. Okay.
Mhm.
Should this be working already then?
No, tonight.
Okay, cool. I
You-
shall leave it alone. So
Yeah.
because I was about to fix it today. I just
Yep.
saw it today.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I'll look at it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then how often does this update? We keep interrupting you, Mark, because we're so excited. I know all these questions.
That's good. I like excitement. It'll update in real time, so with the index. So it just checks for anything that's new or changed.
Okay. Great.
So 5-ish minutes.
Pretty cool. I know, I like that one too. When you had posted it in the Aspen workspace, I was like, in Slack, I was like, oh, yes.
Did we talk about batch updating?
Sorry, I might have skipped over it.
It's up there. So it's that
it's
image right
up.
above. So yeah, right.
Oh, administrators can now batch update individual fields. Yes. And that was like, oops. Down here.
Yeah. So if you go to like library or location settings.
Timer configuration. Oh yeah. So that one was like something Addie was really excited about.
Laura and Michael, you'll both be excited.
Yeah. So here you're able to batch update all. So if you have, like a list like Click or KCLS, the ones that have like the huge list of library systems or locations, you're now able to do batch updates for those. So you can choose it from this drop down menu here.
Yeah, that's exciting. Thanks.
Yeah. You like batch update theme, which would be so useful, especially because we are working on a dark theme, right? Lucas is working on a dark theme. So that would be really cool if we wanted to do that.
And then, yeah, right now that's working with all of the basic properties. So text fields, checkboxes, select lists, that kind of thing. So if you've got like the one-to-many kind of lists where it's like, here's a list of all the library hours and stuff. It's not going to let you do it for the bigger, more complicated things, but all the basic stuff it should let you do. So
Yeah, that'll be really helpful.
yeah, it should be a good time saver for, hey, let's update all of these high schools to do something. Or all of our libraries just got new library barcodes and we want to set those. So then, yeah, you can filter and say, show me only the things that have code bar barcodes, and then update all of those to whatever. So
Batch update the phone number. Cool. And then next is like some CarlX integration. If Aspen detects a bad record when fetching changed items in the last update time, will be incremented by 30 seconds to skip the record. That was a ticket that was put in. That one, and then let's see. I'm thinking, oh, I was looking at the online payments updates as well. That was some tickets that were pretty specific to allowing MSB online payments, update CarlX and Nashville ILS drivers to accommodate online payments. Sorry, I saw that we're kind of running up towards half an hour. I thought that this was only going to take half an hour because I was just going to like go through it really quick. So then there's also grouping and search updates. Added the ability to define authorities for authors. That was that one that we just went over. Reading history updates. So track the last time that reading history was updated, and only update every 5 minutes from the user interface. And only update as part of the cron process if the user has not updated their own reading history that day. Detect cases where updating reading history updates don't progress for 10 minutes and terminate the process. And then if we detect a case where reading history does not update properly for a patron, retry up to 2 times after pausing for 2 minutes. I was actually kind of interested if this would have fixed that issue that I was having with the Sherlock Holmes account.
no, that was a different thing.
That
So
was
this is just trying to optimize some of the timing, and we've got a user that has hundreds or thousands of things checked out. So it's causing things to have issues.
Yeah. Yeah, I try to break Aspen as much as possible. It doesn't happen ever. So then Symphony integration updates, update loading checkouts to load author properly for titles that are checked out but not in the catalog. Add a timeout when loading information from Symphony web services to ensure that Aspen does not become unresponsive if Symphony does not respond in a timely manner. Again, those were tickets that were put in that were responded to. And then we have a couple other updates. So when compiling regular expressions for translation maps, trim the values. So a lot of these were ticket responses. There's a couple here at the bottom that weren't ticket responses. See you, Michael. I think you already left. Oh, there he is. All right. I know I kind of run
Hi,
up.
Lauren.
See you, Lauren. Fortunately, I went over the stuff that was big changes. Added a troubleshooting page to the help manual. There was some help manual updates. So information about a browser setting that causes issues when trying to access PDFs online. Added a troubleshooting page with information about libraries being marked as closed when we load holidays from Koha. And then check if authentication failed when placing holds and checking out material from Cloud Library. Allowing patrons to update their birth date in Koha. And that's only if it's allowed if updating patron information is allowed in that library. Update loading, checkouts, holds, and reading history for patrons when Cloud Library and Access 360 to use the patron's home library rather than active library. If the value of a facet's empty, do not show the value in Aspen. Correcting a formatting issue when more than 4 or more series values are available for a title. Using aliases for web pages and forms, trim off query parameters when checking the database. Again, I think that this is so cool. I like that if any of these are just like random things that you don't see in the, you know, update headings, they might just be down here as a quick fix. Correcting a format issue, yes, and then update the display of results on author pages to match the results shown in regular search results page. Allow the Google font rubrics to be used for headings and body fonts. That one I hadn't looked at yet, but I'm kind of interested. I got really into fonts when I read, or when I watched the movie Helvetica. Make the maximum number of pages to index configurable within website indexing settings to index very large sites. When uploading images within Web Builder, make the full size image required. This one was actually my request. So glad to see it in there. Updates for displaying the list of items to select from when placing item level holds. And this was, list of items. This was that subfield P something, right? Was that what we had talked about in the last Aspen gathering?
Wait, sorry. No, that's when you're placing item holds, there was an issue where we were inadvertently showing a sorting key based off volume
Okay.
information. So it was just displaying incorrectly, and now it is not showing.
Cool.
So, but fairly specific. Only item level holds. Yeah, only item level holds from Koha. Might have seen it with Carlex too, but.
And then add additional user agents to the list of user agents which are considered bots. Resolve a notice when loading information from Novelist if the title information does not exist for a record. And then do not cache browse categories to avoid performance issues when deleting browse categories when lists that are categories are generated from the update. So those things are just kind of like some nice quick fixes down at the bottom. I say quick fixes and Mark's like, I've spent so much time on these.
Could I ask a quick question about one of those things? I had someone in my cubicle while you were going over the end of the list, so I couldn't ask. But for the one, if the value of a facet is empty, do not show the value in Aspen. Would that help us to correct the issues under audience for us and also under fiction, nonfiction when we have things that are coded, not coded, and unknown? Remember when I asked, would it be possible to just remove those?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
And I know we'll have our tests. I know, Addie, I saw your email earlier. We're going to have our test thing up so we can try that on the test site maybe before, but
Yeah.
I was wondering if that might work for us.
Yeah, Aspen tries not to generate blanks, but we maybe.
Okay.
How's that for a definitive answer?
That's good.
Yeah, I probably still have some coding to do on it, but it will. This part will be necessary for that coding.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Building blocks.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was, there was like, sometimes there would be an empty facet on the side in the search, which I'd only seen the once in that ticket, actually. Yeah, was there any other questions on the release notes? Excited? I'm excited about this. It's like sometimes there's updates in the release notes that I just get like so excited about. It's just these minor things that I'm like, oh, that's so much cooler than it was like last month. Pretty cool.
Yeah, this is Robin from Swan. I'm really excited about the I love the Kindle button, Mark, because just from all of our studies and everything, the data from the ebook use, for us, at least at Swan, we show that a lot of the catalog use is to borrow Kindle. So most other users are going directly to the app, even though a lot of like most are going directly to the app. It's only like 10 or 12% even using the catalog, but though of those, it's like 85% of the people using the catalog are going for Kindle. And I think that's because for us, like the format of Kindle and the way that Kindle ebooks are borrowed are different than anything else. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate that, because I knew that was going to be a thing for us right away.
Yeah. And it, like, the Kindle stuff is such a weird workflow. Like,
It's
just
so weird
with how Overdrive and Amazon require you to do it.
Yeah. And someone told me just recently that the Kindle Fire actually is not compatible with the Libby app. So
Oh,
that
really?
really sucks, because if Overdrive discontinues the Overdrive app, which they're supposed to be doing, then Kindle Fire, I don't know what you would do in that case. So
Huh.
yeah. So
the Kindle Fire, you can use the Kindle format or no?
yes.
Okay. It's just weird still.
It's just that I guess you would, if you had a Kindle Fire in that case, you'd have to go to some other place to borrow to then read on Kindle. You couldn't borrow
So you'd
from
have
Libby
to use
app.
Aspen.
You'd have to use Aspen or the Aspen app.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Huh. Interesting. Like, yeah.
Yeah, my Kindle Fire, I'm not super, I just don't use it that much anymore because it's has some weird issues with it.
And I also appreciate all the other work that you're doing too. It's wonderful. So thank you.
No problem. So
yeah, we have another developer coming on, so maybe even more stuff.
any other questions about the release notes or?
Quick question. So if we update, like if we happen to update an authority in Koha, once the authorities are there, will that just translate so you wouldn't have to?
It should. So I'm still working on a few of the grouping things to force a regrouping when the authorities change. So the actual regrouping might happen overnight. I'm still playing with a little bit of that.
Okay.
So you might need to touch the record in Koha as well. So the actual book, but any change made to it would trigger an update for sure. And I'm trying to figure out how to trigger that properly to force it to update. But as soon as the record itself gets touched, it'll update.
So just to understand, if we were to modify an authority on the Koha end and it had like 6 records attached to it, we might need to just touch all 6 to make sure that the changes. Okay.
For now.
Okay.
And And then it will either happen overnight or I will figure out how to automatically do it. But for now, yeah, like change your authority and then touch the records. And then I'll figure out how to make that less painful.
Okay, we can do that. Thank you.
Sure.
Yay.
All right.
Cool. There's no more questions. We're just head on out. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. If you have any more questions pop up, just join us at the Aspen Gathering tomorrow. Yeah.
This will release tonight for everybody. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks
All
a
right,
lot.
thanks.
Thanks,
Have a good
guys.
one. Bye-bye.
Bye.